Hello there, my name's Annette with Sunbeam Fabric Art. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm finishing up my Scrap Buster, Stash Buster sampler quilt-along. First I laid out all 20 blocks and I have 2 blocks of each of the sampler blocks. Then I did a little bit of rearranging and got it just how I wanted it. I decided not to do sashing, but I did want to have a nice 4-inch border. After looking in my stash, I found this beautiful blue floral print that does have some kind of reddish and tan tones in it. And I had enough to cut 7 4-inch strips times width of fabric. I made a stack of my blocks starting at the top of the quilt going left to right. Now orientation doesn't matter for these sampler blocks. And since these blocks are in order left to right, top to bottom, all I have to do is sew 2 blocks right sides together, grab the next 2 blocks, sew right sides together, and I can chain piece. All the blocks in this sampler quilt are 9 patches, so I am just nesting that seam between each row with the block underneath. I continued sewing 2 blocks together in my stack. When I completed the chain, I separated the chain and put them in the exact same order, made sure they were oriented the right way, left to right. I did take a picture of my layout, but I did not need to refer back to it. I just made sure my seam line was on the right-hand side when I laid them back on the table to the left. Here's a little close-up of how I try to make my points stay clean. I see where that point should end up, and I'm aiming my needle for the thread where the point should be. That way I do preserve that point. Now it's not that important to me. I don't 100% stick to this, but on this one with these 9 patches, it was pretty easy to see where that 1/4 inch seam should go. Next, I stitched each pair to the next pair to make my 5 rows of 4 blocks each. Once that was done, I started stitching rows together. I stitched row 1 and 2 together first, and then 3 and 4. Then I put 1 and 2 together with 3 and 4, and then last I added row 5. This quilt size was pretty manageable for me, so I didn't feel like I really needed to use any clips or pins, but if you're feeling a little less confident or your fabric starts shifting around on you, definitely pull out the pins, pull out the clips, keep everything together as you take it through the sewing machine. Next, it was time for me to put my border fabric together. So all I'm doing here is sewing the ends right sides together with each other to make a nice long border strip. I pressed those seams open and then I was ready to attach it to the quilt. To make it easy on myself, I just went around one side at a time and attached my strip of border a little bit longer than I needed at the top and the bottom. Then I just cut it off to size and moved around the quilt clockwise. Once all 4 of the border sides were attached, I trimmed off the excess. I pressed those corners flat And then I trimmed up the corners one last time to square them up. And here is a look at that finished, beautiful, beautiful sampler quilt. And I made the entire thing from scraps and my stash. I just love that blue floral border. I think it looks great. If you're enjoying my channel content, I invite you to subscribe and click that bell icon for notifications. As always, I really thank you for joining me today for this little tutorial and finishing up of this sampler quilt. I hope to see you back again real soon.